Hey, this video will help review for the quiz for September 6th for Friday. You will have some of these types of problems here. You should be able to get from the diameter the radius. Remember, the diameter is all the way across. The radius is only from the center out, so it would be half. So for this one, you would get half of 32, which would be 16. That would give you the radius. If you went the other way and they gave you the radius, which is 18, remember that would be from the center out. To get the diameter, which would be all the way across, you would multiply this by 2. 18 times 2 is 36. Same with this one, 24. If you're going from diameter all the way across to radius, which is halfway, you would do half of 24, which is 12. This would be 7. Half of 14 is 7. Remember, from diameter to radius, it's half. If you go the other way, from radius to diameter, you multiply by 2. 15 times 2 is 30. 11 times 2 is 22. Then from there, for the circumference and area, you should know the formulas. Remember, the area and circumference formulas are here. Area is pi r squared, and the circumference is pi times diameter. So if you were getting the area of one of these circles, like this one here, for number 2, you would write down for the equation pi r squared. The radius, remember, diameter is 12, radius would be 6. So you would do pi r squared for the area. Pi is 3.14 times the radius, which is 6 squared. Then you should know what 6 squared is, right? Again, the 3.14. Then multiply by 6 squared, which is 36. And then you would use your calculator, which you can also do on the quiz, and you'd multiply 3.14 times 36. And that would get you the answer here, just like it shows. Now the circumference, remember, is pi times diameter. So to get this answer of 37.68, you would go pi times diameter. Pi is 3.14. Diameter for this is 12. So if you put 3.14 times 12 into the calculator, you would get this answer here, 37.68. Now to review this one, so remember, with negative numbers, they go to the left on the number line. If this was 0, these numbers over here would be positive. These numbers over here would be negative. The further to the left you go, the higher the negative number. If negative 48 was here, negative 49 would be here. So 1 less than negative 48 would be negative 49. If you went to the right, it'd be negative 47. That would be 1 more than. So example for this one, negative 61. 1 less than that would be negative 62. And 1 more would be negative 60. With the positive numbers, you would just do them as normal. 1 less than 5 is 4. 1 more than 5 is 6. And you can pause if you want to look at all the answers here and practice. Next types of problems that might be on your quiz are problems like these. Remember, if the signs are opposite, a positive and a negative, you're going to subtract those two numbers. And you should also know that since 79 is a bigger number, the answer will be positive. So this will be a positive, but you need to subtract the two numbers. So you would do 79 minus 28, and that would give you the answer, which is going to be a positive number. So just subtract like normal. 9 minus 8 is 1. 7 minus 2 is 5. Now, if they're both negative, like for number 2, if the signs are the same, find the sum of the two numbers. Now, they're both negative, so your answer will also be negative. Then you would just add these two numbers together, 34 and 31. You would get 65. So if they're the same, add them together. If they're opposites, you subtract. If there's more negative numbers than positive, like on number 14, as opposed to number 1 has more positives than negatives, so the answer is positive. But on number 14, there's more negatives than positives, so your answer will be negative, and you'll subtract those two numbers. So you can pause the video if you want to practice these, and I'll show the answers. And you can pause the video to look at the answers for these as well. And then also you might have a few problems that will ask you to compare, like for the unit prices, like the ones we've been doing with the pizzas. We did some of these in class, and I went over area as well, so you should remember how to do those. Remember, for area, pi r squared, this would be 3.14, which is pi. This gives you the diameter, which is 8, so radius would be 4. Then remember, if you're squaring the number, that means the number times itself. So 3.14, 4 times 4 is 16. Then just enter into the calculator to get your answer. Similarly here with the radius given, but for this one, you don't need to put the diameter in half like you did over here. This one, it gives you the radius. So you would do 3.14 times 10 squared. So if it already gives you the radius, there's no need to do half of it. And then finally, the ones with the different sizes. So for example, this one for letter B, if I ask you to compare two of them, so this one is 4 inches for $3. So you would do the area, pi r squared over the cost. So 3.14 is pi. This says the radius is 4 inches, 4 squared. The cost is $3. So you would do the area problem like you normally would for a circle. So you would square the 3.14, which would be 16. And then your last step would just be to multiply 3.14 times 16 in the calculator, get that answer here, and then you would divide it by the $3. This would give you the number of square inches per dollar. So once again, you would multiply these two numbers, and then you would divide by 3. And then you would compare to the other pizza. So this one is 8 inches for $14. So same steps. Area is pi r squared over the cost. This one, 3.14 times radius is 8 squared. Cost is $14. Then, of course, you would square 8. 8 squared is 8 times 8, which is 64. Still $14 down on the bottom. And just like above, for those last steps, you would multiply 3.14 times 64, put that answer here, and then you would divide by 14, and that would give you the number of inches squared per dollar. And you'd be able to compare those two.